Given the current state of the world, I have to say, Black Lives Matter and defund the police, and if you don't like that, you can slip and slide off my taint. But this isn't a video about that, and I'm not even the right person to listen to about those issues. There are way more qualified people for that. I'm here to talk to you about something I am qualified for: video games. Here's why I love Jet Lancer. Jet Lancer is an arcadey aerial combat game. It has fast-paced, stylish combat. The gameplay and controls are simple to understand, but hard to master. I feel the combat is the real star of the show in this game. It's really fun to fly around shooting down other aircraft and deftly dodging projectiles. The game is mission-based, with the majority of those missions being about shooting down planes and the occasional boat or tank. There is a bit of variety in the mission types. The only type that isn't combat-focused is hacking missions, where you mostly are trying to survive in a tight space. The combat missions are divided into a few types: clear the waves, reach the target score, keep enemy presence low, kill specific targets, defend something or someone, and boss fights. Honestly, when the game just focuses on you shooting down enemies is when it's at its best. But that doesn't mean the other missions aren't fun. The combat can be very intense, but I never really felt overwhelmed. It can get pretty close though. You can have a lot of stuff thrown at you, but with a little practice and quick thinking, you can clear any mission. Listen, it's fast, fluid, and satisfying. Shooting down enemies feels great, and chasing a good mission rating can be a blast. Oh, right, the game ranks you on each mission going up to S+, and if you get an S+ without getting hit, you ace the mission. I'm not going to spend time detailing the score mechanics to you, but from this screen, they're pretty straightforward. This is where mastery comes into play. To get all those aces, you will have to master this game. But if you just want to see it through to the end, you shouldn't have to push yourself that hard. There are upgrade modules and different weapons to unlock as you play the game. You can swap out upgrades or weapons between missions to fit your playstyle. There aren't too many of these, but enough to give you a good variety of choice. I have an obvious playstyle. I use the dash module, where instead of rolling to dodge, your jet becomes a dashing knife. Spend a lot of time dashing through enemies to kill them. I am sure other people will have other preferred methods of play. You can figure out what works best for you. It's really easy to try different modules. Now, this game could be played just going mission to mission to enjoy the sweet gameplay, but I think that would be a mistake. Being a mission-driven game, there is a story that unfolds between missions. I don't think this is the greatest story ever told, but it's really fun. It feels like there are strong anime influences. It follows a similar trajectory to stories you may be familiar with. I bet you can even guess one location you'll fly to pretty quick into playing the game. The characters aren't super complex either. The main character, Ash, is your badass ace pilot who fights for her own justice. She travels with her captain, who can easily be described as tired and pragmatic, and an engineer who is a talking cat that loves technology and being sassy. I guess if you call threatening to piss in bed sassy, but meh. There is a rival character, Pierce, who's a pompous dick. There are other characters of some significance, but I'm not going to talk much about them so you can experience the story for yourself. I'll mention Peter because he's just a joke character summed up as incompetent nepotism. The story follows a group of mercenaries trying to pay their bills by fighting off sky pirates with Ash in her mysterious superjet. Things expand from there, and eventually the cast are dealing with problems that I would describe as apocalyptic. The story is delivered in between missions in small enough chunks that keep you invested, but don't take you away from the gameplay for too long. For the most part. This brings me to a few complaints I have about the game. I think they're all very minor, but I still felt the need to talk about them. There's one mission in the game that gives you some exposition, but it happens after a wave of enemies. This brings the flow of the game to a halt. I know you couldn't just give this information in combat via text. I don't know how you would read it, so I'm not sure I have a suggestion for this one really. It just kind of breaks up the flow of the game in a bad way. It is only one mission though. There also seems to be an issue of difficulty spikes. Reading through some comments, it seems that most people have one mission that is really hard to them. It isn't always the same mission though, so I can only speak to what gave me trouble. There's a mission where you have to sink some ships that I had a hard time with. I think that most targets that are on the land or sea, the bottom of the screen, are annoying. You're flying a fighter jet, not a bomber. Even so, these targets feel like they soak a lot of damage. The mission, Sea Hunter, can get really hectic, and the boats just take so much to die. It was a source of frustration for me. But I think other people probably had no issue with it. The next point is an aesthetic thing. You have a total of 28 upgrades and guns to choose from, but you only get about half of them for your first playthrough. The others unlock in New Game Plus. I think it would have provided a very cool moment if you had a full arsenal upon beating the game, and then when you get your first module in New Game Plus, the menu would expand and show you that more upgrades were coming. That would be a very exciting moment for the player. I guess the last thing that I would call a complaint is that I wish there was more game. The game seems perfect for an endless mode or something like that. I would love a wave-based score-chasing game mode. Now, I know I just mentioned New Game Plus. It's very important in this game. It's more than just the story, but harder. It is harder, but the enemies have new attack patterns and maneuvers rather than just more health and damage. I mentioned that if you want to fill out your modules, you only get some by playing New Game Plus. And of course there's a true ending for beating the game in the right way. There's also a great story moment that actually incorporates some game mechanics that I don't really want to spoil, but I feel like it might deserve its own discussion at some point. Overall, New Game Plus isn't just more game, it has its own secrets and things going on. This game is fast, fun, and exciting. Playing the game feels really good. Combat is satisfying, the boss fights are always fun, and a huge spectacle. The story is even pretty good. It makes you invested in the world, but doesn't take away from the gameplay in any way. I really only had those few minor complaints about this game, so I'm saying that you should play this game. They even have some great accessibility options, like extending the dodge window, change buttons to be toggles instead of presses, turning off screen shake and flashes, as well as changing how much damage you receive. There's no real punishment for any of these options. You can still see the whole story. It might be a little hard to get ace ratings on missions with some of the options, but really, most anyone can play this game with these options. I almost finished the video without mentioning the style of this game. The pixel art is very nice. There's some great shading happening to match backgrounds of night and sunset. There are some visual moments with powerful weapons turning the world black and white to really emphasize how strong something is. The game looks beautiful. The music is fantastic. I've been listening to the album a lot while working on this video, and I've been loving every second of it. The songs do a good job of setting the tone for the whole game, and even lend more weight to some of the important moments. I feel like this game has not gotten enough attention. There are less than 300 Steam reviews and a bit over 300 people in the game's Discord. I love this game, and I feel like it should be spread far and wide. So, why don't you give it a chance? And then share it with your friends. Also, it's only $15, so it won't break the bank. What are you doing? Go buy this game! Hey everyone, thanks for watching. It took me a long while to make this video. I wanted this out like 2 weeks after the game's launch, but that obviously didn't happen. Then a large portion of the world began protesting police brutality, so I spent time wondering if I should even be making videos on something like this or how to address that. That's why I shared where I stand in the intro. I mean, it isn't enough, but I want people to know where I stood, and that if they don't like it, I don't really want them here. But this form of internet activism doesn't do all that much, which means I need to figure out what to do with myself. But the next video will probably be just back to your regularly scheduled stuff. Join me then.